Okay, we are back with Deep Images. The Center Symposium rolls on. I'm Henry Covert, and myself, C.F. Roberts, and very special guest host, Briggie Williams, are continuing our deep dive into a film that's unexpectedly become about the biggest film on earth right now, Sinners by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan and an incredible cast. We hope you will join us. We're also appending some video essays from folks who weren't able to attend the roundtable. So we hope you enjoy their comments. So let's get into it.
Dark desires, breathing in fire, blaze, fueling my last days.
Okay, for our next video essay, we are going to be listening to Elijah Butler, a featured panelist on this show since the beginning of this year, and he is doing a bang-up job, and he could not make the group session, so he opted for this video essay form, which we pioneered on our Cannibal Holocaust Symposium, which everyone should go back and watch. To me, it's truly some of our finest work, whether you are repulsed by cannibals and such or not. I'm going to turn it over to you, Elijah. Let's get into it.
Why is Ryan Coogler's Sinners the modern classic that it is? Why and how did this movie become an instant classic? Let's dive into it. Ryan Coogler is a fantastic director. He has not made a single bad movie yet. The Black Panther movies, Fruitvale, Station, Creed. He is clearly a visionary and very fascinating director, and he has stated that Sinners is his most passionate and personal film to date. And he has had a history with working with Michael B. Jordan on set, but this is easily like their mega collaboration, like their biggest one yet, without a doubt. Sinners showcases Ryan Coogler at the height of his filmography in so many ways. With its impressive historical setting in the 1930s, its heavy cultural themes, an all star cast, and Ryan Coogler's fascinating perception of music within the film's narrative. Sinners is a brand new masterpiece in every sense of the word, and to say that this is a full on vampire film would almost be mismarketing it, and and it's quite misleading because yes, like on paper it's not necessarily fully a vampire movie. Like that's not the main focus. Yes, there are vampiric elements, specifically through the second half and the third act. But this movie is basically a cross genre experience. It has drama, it has thriller elements, and yes, it definitely has horror, but it also has black comedy, and it also feels western like. Like it even had like a From Dusk Till Dawn vibe to it, which is what I really loved. The cast is also freaking incredible, as I mentioned. Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, Saul Williams, Omar Benson Miller, etc. Like the entire cast commits to their performances. Nothing feels half assed. The entire experience of Sinners is amped up to an S tier because of this cast, because of how good and passionate the performances are, especially Michael B. Jordan, who easily has the most work in this entire movie. So, just in case any of you haven't really seen Sinners, I will give like a simple synopsis of what it is basically about. So, basically, it revolves around these two twin brothers who are from the South. And after serving in World War One and coming out of a gang in Chicago, these two gangsters they go back home to the South with all this money to create a juke joint space for the black community, a safe space for their community, and eventually shit hits the fan, in the second half and the third act with all the vampire stuff, and then shit goes loose. As I said before, on paper, I guess you could call this a horror film, but again, horror isn't really the main focus here because this film has a lot to offer and a lot to say too. Again, Ryan Coogler does an astounding job with the narrative and the use of the perception of music and how it not only brings loved ones together in a community, but how it transcends through different times and cultures, and how it can even attract unearthed forces. The music in Sinners is pretty much a character of its own. The film beautifully incorporates elements of like blues music that drive the narrative forward and our characters as well. But aside from just the astounding music, which I'll get back to by the way, there are also like crime and racial elements. Since this takes place in the South, a lot of the characters have to deal with the struggles of like Jim Crow racism. And this is just one of the many reasons why these two twins want to create this safe space, this big party for their community. And all of this combined together, like the music within the narrative and the Jim Crow racism, all of this just so happens to lead up to vampiric shit in later on in the film. There just so happens to be vampires. The film's cinematography is nothing short of mesmerizing. The 70 millimeter look is astounding, especially in IMAX. The color grading really makes the characters, the backgrounds, and the costume designs and the overall historical setting come to life beautifully. Going back to the music, the film's score is genuinely one of the best I've heard in a while. It also incorporates blues music, but also a wide variety of other instruments. And the soundtrack, I think, is going to be engraved in my head for a while, and I think it's going to end up being a personal favorite of mine. If you ever find time, listen to the Sinner soundtrack because it hits. It really does. But as I said before, the beauty of Sinners is that it has a wide variety of things in it because it's technically a cross genre experience that I could see anyone watching this and having a blast with it. Like again, it's not necessarily just a proper horror film. Yes, I guess you could call it a horror film on paper because it is technically labeled as a vampire movie. But there's much more to it. It's much more than just that. Calling it just a standalone vampire film would just be mismarketing it in a sense. Like the music elements are very, very crucial and important to the narrative and the perception of music, and again, how it transcends um, through the narrative and through the film's themes. And if anything, I really do believe that the music elements and the drama elements stand out more than the horror elements. And I'm not really degrading the horror elements. Like, I'm not saying they're bad because they're bad ass. Like, the third act, like, if you want horror in this film, there definitely is horror. This movie makes room for everything. The third act is fucking awesome. There is vampiric carnage. There are genuinely creepy elements. Now, I wouldn't say like downright, like, oh my god, that's horrifying, like nightmare ish. Um, but it is fucking cool. And I think you will have a blast with it. I also have to give props to Warner Brothers for giving Ryan Coogler full control of this film because it really does show the industry just how grand this guy is. Like as I said before, Ryan Coogler hasn't made a single bad movie. Like I like the Black Panther movies and I love Creed, I love Fruitvale Station. But this Sinners is the first movie where I walked out of it and genuinely said, I need to see more Ryan Coogler movies. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what else he does. I'm excited to see if he can tackle more original stories because Sinners is a major win for original films. And from the looks of it, it's already on track to receive nominations next year's at the Oscars, which is already a win for the horror genre and a major win for Ryan Coogler. Bless you, sir. But yeah, Sinners is a masterpiece. I have faith that this is going to become a favorite of mine within the next few years, probably within the next few months. I could literally add it in my top 100 horror films of all time. Like, I genuinely think it's that good. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you should probably get on that because I think it's going to be leaving theaters soon, and I'm not sure if it's still playing in IMAX. So yeah, you should probably get on that before it leaves theaters soon because it is fucking amazing. Anyway, well, that is why Sinners is a modern classic.
Yeah, I think the reason why they seemed apolitical in that sense, that they were basically just stripped down to their like base level animal level, was because they were one born into a very rough society, which strips you
Yeah.
down, and many Black people still walk around that way. We have to because we don't know when and where it's going to come from. So you have to walk like you have armor on,
Oh, sure.
and at some point that armor gets very heavy, So and then you have them then being in the war, and then
Yeah.
also don't forget
It's
with
another layer.
even
Yeah.
within the war you were still segregated. You were not given the
Right.
proper rations. You weren't given food.
But you were
You
supposed to
weren't
fight for the white power.
Right. You weren't
For
given
sure.
any of those things. Look into the history of that. I mean, I'm not saying this to, I'm not poor meaning, and this is history. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, so you were not given the proper medical care if you were injured or wounded. So you don't know what those brothers went through. And then you came out and then you were with the mob and you were with Al Capone, and it was all of the things that entails. It is just so multi-layered. So by the time they get to be around these women that they loved, left for whatever reasons. Um, there is a sense of being able to take the armor off and to just sort of be with people who aren't going to stab you in the back, where you
Right.
felt real love at one point, where you had real affection, where you were able to get back into your humanity. And these women were a vehicle by which that could be facilitated. But with Stack, it wasn't as facilitated as he would have wanted it to be because being with Mary, there is another layer of danger. Though he said to her, "Look, you're going to get me killed. You can't be here. Like, why are you here? I'm
Yeah.
sorry I walked out on you in the middle of the night, but look, my survival is more important than a piece of ass." And she was
How?
not taking no
Let me
for an answer.
let me ask you about Mary. So this is kind of interesting to me. So why? What do you think is Mary's point of view in this movie? I mean, what is she trying to do? Is she trying to integrate with black people again? Is she just doing it because she loves this one guy? What's her problem? Why she keep coming around and why she go to their chick joint and keep talking about all this stuff? Because at first, Sammy thinks she's just like gonna cry rape and get them all killed. Um, and she talk, she's got the redneck accent too, of course. And I didn't know how I felt about that character. I mean, not the very end, like where they're turned, but the end of her character where you see her as a human, and up to when she's killing him. I felt like no matter how kind she was to certain characters, that she was a negative force. And maybe I'm stating the obvious. I don't know. I mean, I felt like I felt like she's the one who turned the brother, took him away, and kept him for 60 fucking years. And it's awful. So do you think Mary really was an evil person before she's a vampire, or a malevolent, or she just trying to do. I don't know. I didn't understand her motivation. I'm not saying I have to. I mean, it worked plot wise, but I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, I don't. My opinion, I don't believe. Okay, I'll put it this way. It's sort of twofold, I guess, or threefold. I'll say this. Um, Mary is a white woman that can walk anywhere in the world.
All right. She can pass, quote unquote.
No, no, it's not passing. She's a white woman.
Right, but that's
She's
not what she's telling the people when she goes to the Jew joint, and that's not what she's saying the genetics say. I'm just
no,
saying that. I'm just saying that.
she is a. What I'm saying is, when you look at her,
Yes.
whether she's a quarter black or one drop roll, which is very racist, and people need to stop saying
Yeah, I
that.
know. It's
In my
ridiculous.
opinion, I that is like you got to stop. It's that's look. I told you the other day my great grandfather's Irish. Do I go and tell people I'm Irish? Like that's insulting to
No.
Irish people. You know what I mean? It's like I have more than one drop. So okay. So anyway, we won't go there. She's not a black woman. She's not a black woman. She's white.
How do you feel about?
And
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
and she feels privileged like white women feel,
All right.
right? And she feels privileged because that black man told her she can be there. That's why she's
She can
there.
move within both worlds.
Right, because if you remember, there was a scene in that movie where he told her, "Look, you have to leave here." And then so Sack says to her in the Jew joint, "Look, why are you here? You have to go." And then he said, "Look, I'm gonna get one of these sisters or something like this to come and kick your ass and get you out of here."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "You taught me how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not gonna happen." You see what I mean? So you taught her how to fight to kick these black women's asses. And there's a level of arrogance that comes with that, which does still exist and is still here, where a white woman feels, I have a black man. And so now I'm going to get in your face, black woman, because I have this black man that's giving me permission to talk to you this way.
Well, it's
Do you
fucked
see
up
where I'm
because
going with it?
yeah, I mean it's like being conquered. I mean because you after like a couple minutes at most after the exchange, you just quoted what does he say? I love you, and he gets all invested.
Right. Right. Now we all
Suddenly
really
becomes vulnerable.
right now, but we all know in real life if that really happened, how it would really turn out. It would turn it, we know how that would have already turned out. She would get in our face, we would come back, she would go to her man, and then he's gonna come, the man's gonna come and fight me, fight a woman.
And they're
That's
going to
how
be on
that would
Jerry
have turned.
Springer.
You see what I mean? And that's what
Yeah.
that have turned out because that's the dynamic. So I'm just
Have you
saying
have
like
you
that.
ever physically seen that happen?
Oh yes.
I'm just asking.
Oh yes. This is why I'm saying this. Oh, for sure. I've seen that
I mean, I've seen
happen.
a little bit like that when I was in high school, but not a lot.
I have seen that happen. I mean, I am personally unfazed by that because I've just kind of risen above that
Yeah, sure.
particular kind of energy.
Sure.
But I have seen white women want to get in your face as a black woman because she's with a black man, so she feels entitled now to come in and try to like because her man told her X, Y, and Z, whatever pillow talk he's telling her in bed. Well, I want to just say back to the reparations piece. I get
Yes.
your point, but the real point for us as Black people is we're tired of people riding in on our suffering.
Sure.
You
Sure.
see what I mean? Like
Mm,
this is a debt owed for horrific intergenerational struggle and pain. I mean, they used to eat us. They use us as souvenirs. Like this is real. So I get where you're coming from. I get where Jimmy's coming from. I think that's all very nice. But
oh no, I'm for
this is
reparations specifically for African.
this is separate and apart
Right.
from,
Right.
I believe we should all have universal health care. I totally believe we should. But this is separate and apart from anything else that has ever happened in the history of the world, or at least I will say in the history of the world, but more specifically here in America.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm saying for
Yeah,
me.
sure.
That's all I'm saying. And I think people should have universal health care. I don't think people should it should be tied to your job, so you can't leave and you're tied to this. And the job in and of itself is draining your life force because you hate being there, but you need health care because you have children, and they need
It,
health care. I don't want to miss the moment of all of the vampires that were now dancing this Irish jig because of Remick, because he was the hive mind and what that means. And then, of course, when Sammy is saying the Lord's Prayer at the end and Remick is there and he's like, yeah, 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 I heard this and it means nothing because his people too were subjugated by the
Mhm.
English and forced into
Like,
giving up their ways
Yeah.
and their secret beliefs and replaced and then became indentured servants, and all of that stuff. And so in that, Black people, which I get it, you were indentured servant, you had to work 5 years to work this off, and then you were free, but Black people, that shit was like eternal. You know what I'm saying? So you may have heard or may not have heard, but they do certainly do compare what happened to them to Black people. We keep trying to tell them like that's not the same thing. Like you were in an indent. You mean you had 10 years or 5 years to work this thing off, and then you were able to be free and go off and do whatever you wanted to do.
yeah,
Does that seem?
yeah.
And I'm not going to say all.
What I
I'm not,
know about the Irish situation, that makes sense.
no,
I
I
don't
mean
know.
that's
I don't know that I don't feel that their struggle is as pervasive as the struggle of Black people worldwide.
No.
I think it's a very small pocket. And I mean, if you're in that culture, then you do feel that way. I mean, I know the few Irish people I know, they don't like English people.
no. Irish people, I will tell you, they are they are horrified by the way the Irish are here in America.
You
This
said
is just, I'm not going to
horrified.
say, yeah,
Mm.
I'm not going to say that, I'm not putting that in. I'm just telling you as an aside. They are horrified by the way the Irish people treat Black people here and how
All
they've
right.
assimilated
Yeah.
into whiteness because they were no joke about their fucking freedom and they fought for that shit. You know what I mean? And they will be
From what I understand, Ireland is one of the more left wing countries on earth right now.
Yeah, yeah, and they're horrified. They're like,
To a
you're
degree,
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, about how Irish people are here and how they've just decided to become white.
I'm part
And
Irish, and you know what? I don't give a damn. I could care less.
well, because you're not in Ireland with your people. If you were
Well, that
there,
doesn't
you would.
matter. It's an identity thing, man. I'm Irish American.
Malcolm X warned us about that. It's the nice white liberals that are going to be your downfall. It's not the
Yeah.
Klan. It's the nice white liberals who keep
No, he
telling
was
you
right.
your time for freedom, and we don't like the way you're doing it. Well, can't you just wait and not do it this way? We're uncomfortable. Those are the people who you got to break away from.
No, the time is now.
That's
Yeah.
It's now or never.
yeah,
And
yeah. It's really now or
and
never.
Malcolm X, like in the movie when Denzel, the girl in the college campus, do you remember that? She said, "What can I, as a white person, do to help you in the plight of Black people?" He's like, "You,
Mm,
as a white person, can do nothing to help me." I don't know if
yeah.
that really happened or not, but it was pretty cold blooded, man.
Well,
but
because
but but accurate,
yeah, but that same white woman is the same as that same white woman is Mary in Sinners.
right?
It's the same white woman. She's the same white woman.
Hmm.
It's the same white woman.
Archetype,
I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. It's not that I have hatred or I have some issues with white, but these are not your issues. You're not here to save us. You're going to bring down hell on us. Play your role, but you can't play it over here.
mm,
Talk. And what you can do as a white person is not come and talk to us about our oppression. Go talk to your people about what
right?
you're doing.
Right.
Don't talk to them. You got to talk to them.
Yeah, but when you
That's
do
what you
that,
have
then
to
you
do.
risk your own people disliking
Well,
you.
then that means you're not really
Which that's
serious.
my life bent. I just
That means that you want to be up under black men because you've got a fetish and you want to be like underneath them, and your issues for being there ain't as altruistic as you're appearing. Because at some point you're gonna be at the head of the line telling black women to step behind you, which has happened many times before in the movement. It just keeps
Yeah.
playing itself out. And just if you don't study history and if you're not in these movements to see these things happening, you'll never understand.
right,
But they need to go talk to their own people
right.
about what they're doing
Absolutely.
and how to break down these systems of oppression. Talking to us is doing nothing.
You already know all
You
this.
know? Yeah, we already know, and we don't have the power to stop it. Oh, we have the power to resist it, but not the power to stop it. And then conversations like this, where you ask questions and you guys were asking and things you didn't know this deeper subtext because of the way I grew up and because of just being a black woman with living in the black community, understand. And my father is from Alabama. So I even have a deeper sense of when I was a child, I used to go to Alabama and visit my family. And it was very much like that. I mean, of course, not to that degree because I was in the 30s and stuff like that, but I was like a little girl and running around barefoot, hanging out with my cousins. But that type of energy was still down there, which is pretty.
It's here. I mean,
But yeah, you're
it's
there and you know it.
it's
Go
been
ahead.
diluted. It's been diluted by a lot of imports and
Right.
exports and immigrants
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
white liberals who are crafting the city plans. But
Right.
But
Yeah.
and that I like that. But I don't go out anymore, so I don't really care about it. But
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
used to go out and like sometimes I'll tell people, like I lived in Charlotte my whole life. In
Wow.
1993, the biggest bank in the world moved here and made headquarters. We got a sports
Hmm.
team, and then all these retail giants moved in.
Hmm.
Barnes and Noble and Starbucks.
Hmm.
1993 was like the magic year, Charlotte, and they started within a couple of days. They started quoting saying, "Now we are a world class city," and I'm like, no, you're not. You're just like Blade Runner. You just keep building all this new shit on top of all this trash, you know?
Yeah. I think it was 97 the first time that I was in Charlotte and it was already blowing up.
And I
Hmm.
like seeing the little neighborhoods that have all the shop. This part of town basically doesn't have a whole lot of blatant wealth, huh?
I was going to ask Chuck, where are you located? Where are
Oh
you?
yeah,
Northwest Arkansas.
Oh, you're in Arkansas. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I'm just curious.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of the nicey nice liberal end of Northwest Arkansas, and that's
Mhm.
No,
kind of a two bladed sword
Mhm.
in
yeah,
Mhm.
its
Mhm.
own way.
But you seem like you're more, or maybe you've just been in different places where there were different people.
Yeah, I grew
Like,
up in New England.
oh, you're in New England. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay,
was
so you're
in
over
Mass,
here.
New Hampshire for about the first half of my life.
Cool. Very good.
So
Oh, so,
what are your final
yeah.
thoughts on this, Briggy, on
Final
Center?
thoughts on sinners. Well, let's see. I wanted to talk about the Irish jigs that were going on in that music, which seemed very appropriate for the times, and you know, bringing that element in of the Irish culture. I thought was great. I didn't want to. I didn't want to exit this review without, giving
Mm,
that its fair due
sure.
and its acknowledgement in terms of just uh, the Irish, the aesthetic, and the culture, and understanding too that toward the end, when the Lord's Prayer was being recited, that Remy says, "Look, that doesn't work on me because we have been forced to believe these things just as you were forced by the English, and so their ways have been stripped of them as well." And so that I felt was very um, like beautifully matched of the two oppressed cultures coming together. Even though one was a vampire and one was trying to escape the vampire, they
Mhm.
were both trying to escape. Um, being forced to believe in this, God that the English had poured down on them and said, "Hey, look, your ways don't matter. These ways do matter." So, final thoughts. Very powerful movie. Um, I hope our reviews enlightened you, certainly, to say the least. And I would say you're going to probably have to watch it a couple of times now that you've gained access into a deeper understanding of what this movie can represent
Oh
and
yeah.
the historical context that I think will be really enriching. So yeah, that's me.
Very good job, Briggie.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts, Chuck?
Just folks, yeah, you need to rush out and see it.
Advice for the audience. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all some advice to hit the like button and hit the notification bell and
Yeah.
subscribe to the channel. It's not that hard. Just hit a little button. And I know I'm not saying it with a lot of energy and verve like a lot of guys on. I should be like, hit that button. I'll get there. I'm
It's
overcoming
getting late,
shyness.
folks.
So what I'm saying is that I'm cutting. So yeah, so do that. Do the bell. Do the thumbs up and the subscription, and it will help us tremendously. We've got to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can kind of get out of this limbo kind of we're in now. It's we're at a plateau and we have to break, through the ice and get out. So we're like Titanic backwards. We're gonna instead of sinking, we're gonna go backwards like John Cocteau and go out of the ice. So that's it. So thank you for watching.
Do it, folks. Do the thing to the thing.
Rock on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Groovy. For our last video essay that was given to us by a longtime friend who is now becoming a collaborator with Deep Images, Dr. Rhonda Baughman, she is going to be discoursing on sinners as only she can. This should be very enjoyable entertainment. Rhonda is a very interesting person. I don't know if she introduces herself in these videos she's giving me or not. I will formally introduce her now. Rhonda Baughman is a longtime writer. She's been a zine writer, a magazine writer. She's written reviews, articles, essays on film and the arts. She's had books of fiction, poetry, nonfiction, essays published. She is a honest to God doctor. She has been an amazing professor and mentored many young people. And on top of all that, when I met her, she began as a legit scream queen. She was friends with, Brink Stevens, Linnea Quigley, as was our old friend Mark Baranowski, aka the Marksman. And I first met Rhonda because she was playing such a role in one of the Marksman's films, actually two of the Marksman's films, under the name Rochelle Williams. A few years later, Marksman and I were still hanging out, and I mentioned my crush on Rochelle Williams, and all of a sudden, this lady named Rhonda Baughman jumped in and say, "Hey, hey, hey!" So that was her. She's come a long way, baby, as they used to say, and I am very, very, very proud and pleased that she's decided to collaborate with us. She's always been someone who she knows film and the arts inside out. Every kind of intellectual, philosophical point, she's got it. But she's also fun and lively, energetic, entertaining, interesting, and she's deep. And we're here to go deep, man. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Rhonda. Let's get into it.
Well, hey there. Sorry about that. I was busy trying to channel my ancestors. And part of me wants to pretend I'm kidding, but no, I'm not. I just got back from seeing Sinners. Man, that was such a good time. Sinners will go down for me as the film that brought my love of going to the movie theater back. Who knew? I didn't know. I thought it was just gone, For whatever reason, everything is cyclical in nature, but the movie going theater experience just wasn't my thing. And it used to be, growing up, and then just nothing. But now, lately, all these films are coming at me that I want to see again. Sinners, Accountant 2, the latest entry in the Final Destination series, Death of a Unicorn, Ballerina, So I'm just really excited for whatever reason. But it was Sinners that brought back that love of how much fun going to the movie theater can be, right? You get that one friend and you hype it up and you make it an adventure. But it's that communal theater experience where people were not on their phones, they weren't having side conversations, they weren't playing games or just generally causing a ruckus. No, everybody was just mesmerized. I looked around at one point and people were just glued to the screen. And when a lot of the music started, I felt my own breath stop. And at one point, my little foot's moving, it's tapping, everybody comes out river dancing. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy, and I have no rhythm whatsoever. But I was like, I want to river dance. I didn't, of course. But everybody in the theater, you could see them, moving a little bit too. And during other certain scenes, in that communal experience, people were saying things out loud that I was just thinking in my head. Like the amen, and I know that's right, and you tell them just like it is, no Satan here. And that's fun for me, when people have a good time at the theater like that. So, thank you, Sinners, for bringing it back home for me, what I love most about the theater. But let's, the film itself, let's get right down to it. Damn, that is 5 stars of everything. Writing and directing and acting and atmosphere and soundtrack. And the soundtrack, come on. When that vinyl pre-order hit for the double LP with the smoke and stat colored vinyl, I was right there on my phone like, give it to me. I got it. I'm cool. I'm okay now. Yeah, everything's fine. But it's like, of course I have to have that. And I have to have 2 copies, obviously. One for me to play, around the house so I can, quietly sit and listen to it. And the other one, so you can save it in case it goes up in value, because that's what record collectors do. But I'm curious to see if the music, if it translates from the film itself into, my living room while I'm either chilling out, grading papers, or vacuuming. I bet it will. I have a hunch it will. So thank you, 2025. It's like we did something right, bringing a sequel for The Accountant and bringing us Sinners. And that's really, for me, what movie going is about anymore. I need to have a good time. I don't want to pick it apart and dissect it. I like just being mean about it. I can analyze a film, but the picking it apart and being cruel, that's not really my jam. And I know people, they find various pitfalls with Sinners. I don't. I just had a really good time with it, and that's the most important part to me. That, and do I want a sequel? Well, hell yes, I want a sequel to Sinners. That's another thing that says you had a really good time, Rhonda. If you're walking out of the theater thinking, damn, I hope there's a part 2 to this. You just want the story to continue in any form. Well, let's go. That's why, things like John Wick, and the new Ballerina movie coming, that's why those are so fun for me. It's an entire universe that you just want to keep going, even if it's just, a weird tangent or something. I know it looks like I'm bringing in a 747, but I just get very excited when I talk about, movies. And the same thing for Sinners, whatever angle they want to take, prequel, sequel, do we want to follow the Native Americans who just pieced out of there? I'll watch it all. I'm looking forward to it. So 5 stars for that movie. Such a good time.
Okay, so our Center Symposium has finally reached its conclusion. We hope you enjoyed everything, and we hope you're not too put off by such a mainstream work being examined so closely when, millions of people are watching it and thousands of critics are laying down their ink, be it real or electronic, on this film, but we know the material. We have interest in the material going into it. We already went into it, invested to some extent, and all it is really, all these symposiums are a few of us talking amongst ourselves, or monologuing to you guys about to what degree it succeeded in those areas for that specific person or persons. So that's what we're here for. And as always, please drop us a like and subscribe to the channel. We are in dire need of help. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So we can't do it without you. Just hit a button, subscribe. You'll be getting all our content. Hit the notification bell. You'll get it immediately. You don't have to necessarily check it out immediately, but you won't miss it because of the algorithms. All right, so that's it for everybody. Coming up, we've got lots of more incredible episodes. The major ones in the near future will be the David Lynch Symposiums, which will be a multi-part opus, and we're looking forward to sharing that with you. Always go deep, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
And it's true that we cannot see that far behind. If we looked all the way in the past, we'd go blind. In the night, from the stars as they've all lived their lives, and the light that they gave as they burned and then died.